Okay guys, so we'll be starting our first lesson of Unit 1, which is order of operations. So, order of operations, right? Like I said in the intro, the order of operations is actually also known as PEMDAS. So, order of operations. Let's move this over here to the top. Order of operations is actually the same thing as PEMDAS. Okay? So, what do you mean by PEMDAS? Okay, PEMDAS is basically an acronym that is commonly used to help understand how to exactly solve an expression or equation and in what order. So, let's look at it. So, PEMDAS, okay, let me just separate these two. PEMDAS. So, PEMDAS, let me just quickly go through every single letter. So, P of PEMDAS is parentheses, E of PEMDAS is exponents, M and D of PEMDAS are multiplication and division, and lastly A and S of PEMDAS is addition and subtraction. So let's go through each of these. Okay, so first P. P is equal to parentheses. Parentheses. Okay, so what do I mean by parentheses? Well, so if you're given an equation, let's say 3 times, or let's say 3 plus 4 plus 9 times 7. Okay, so when you see this expression, what do you immediately think? Where do we start with this equation? Do we go from left to right, like reading a book? Or where do we start? Well, that's why we use PEMDAS. And as you can see in PEMDAS, the first letter is actually parentheses. So obviously, we start with parentheses. So let's look at what's in the parentheses. Well, we can see that it's the 3 plus the 4. So we can start with that. So 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. And then let's incorporate that into the equation. So we get 7. Let's keep it in the parentheses to better understand it. 7 plus 9 times 7. Okay. So that's basically it. We basically figured out what to do first, and we knew that it was parentheses, and we solved it. So next, let's go through exponents, which is the E. E equals exponents. Oops. So exponents. What are exponents? Well, exponents are basically when you raise any constant or value to a certain degree or a number. For example, 3 to the power of 2. In this, what would be the exponent? Well, that would be 2, because you're raising 3 to the power of 2. So let's do that. And obviously, 3 to the power of 2 is the same as 3 times 3. Because, yeah, and then what is 3 times 3? Well, 3 times 3 is obviously 9. So now you understand. 3 to the power of 2 is the same thing as 3 times 3, which is the same thing as 9. So 3 to the power of 2 equals 9. Now let's go through another example, just to make sure we understand it fully. Well, what if the power is not 2? What if it's something greater, like 4? What about 5? Well, let's take a look into that. So let's say 2 to the power of 4. Okay? Well, now what would the exponent be? Well, in this case, the exponent will be 4, right? So since the exponent is 4, basically that means we have 4 different 2's. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Notice how in the 3 squared, or 3 to the power of 2, we had 2 3's. And now, since it's 2 to the power of 4, we have 4 2's. And what does 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 equal? Well, that's the same thing as 4 times 4 times 4, which is equal to 16. So, therefore, we know that 2 to the power of 4 is 16. And by the way, you can do this with any number, any amount of degree, or to the any power. Like you can do 10 to the power of 1000, like anything you want. That will just be a little harder. Well, 10 to the power of 1000, just keep adding zeros. But you understand my point. Now let's go through an actual example of using exponents in a certain equation. So let's do, for simplicity, 4 squared minus 9 divided by 7. Okay, so now we see this, right? Well, you might be wondering, where do we start? Well, first let's use what we've learned from PEMDAS so far. Well, we've already gone through parentheses. So let's see if we have any parentheses in this equation. I don't see any parentheses. So now let's move to the second letter, exponents. Well, in exponents, I see there's a 4 to the power of 2. So let's solve that part first. So 4 to the power of 2 is essentially equal to 16. And then let's bring that down. So then we have 16 minus 9 over 7. So that basically covers the exponent part of PEMDAS. Let's move on to the next part. So for the next part, wait, let me just quickly move this to the side so we'll have more room. Alright, so for the next part, we're going to be going over M and D. Actually, for this one, M and D, which is multiplication and division, they both go together, meaning that you do both of them at the same time. Like if there's a division and a multiplication, like here, let me show you. So next is multiplication plus division. Okay, let me move this real quick. Alright, so multiplication, MD equals. Okay, so for multiplication and division, they both go together, obviously, as you can see. So let's move this up a bit. So both of these, whenever you have an equation like 4 to the power of 3 times 9 divided by, let's say, 13, okay? In this, you have to go from left to right, like reading a book, and see which one shows up first. Is it a multiplication symbol, or is it a division symbol? And just letting you know now, the star that you see is actually a multiplication sign. So let's look from left to right. So you see a 4, and then you see an exponent, and then you see a multiplication sign, and then you see a division sign. So therefore, you have to start with the multiplication sign, because that's what comes first. So let's do that real quick. But remember, we don't do that first. Why? Because you see an exponent. But for simplicity, let's just make it a plus to make it easier to understand. So plus. Okay, so now we can easily understand that you start with the multiplication. So let's see. We have 3 times 9. That's what we're multiplying together. So this equals 3 times 9. Well, and we know that 3 times 9 is equal to 27. And then, so let's rewrite our equation now. So this is 4 plus 27 divided by 13. Now, we have completely finished the multiplication sign. So if you look at the new and revised equation, we have 4 plus 27 divided by 13. So now let's look. Do we have a parentheses? No. Do we have exponents? No. Do you have multiplication? No. Actually, it doesn't matter. Even if you have multiplication or division, you can do either one first. It doesn't really matter. So, well, we don't have any multiplication either way, so let's do the division. Well, so for this, for our sake, let's make the division a little easier. So let's make this a 3 instead of 13. Alright, so 27 divided by 3. Well, that's easy. 27 divided by 3 is equal to 9. And so now our final equation will be 4 plus 9. So now we have successfully gone to addition and subtraction, which is our last two. So let me just summarize multiplication and division real quick. So for this, it doesn't matter whether you have multiplication or division in the same equation. It doesn't matter which one you do first. Like you could, in the earlier equation, 4 plus 3, times 9 divided by 13. I just started with multiplication because it's easier for me to go from left to right and pick one. But it's your choice. You could even go with division first if you wanted to, as long as you're only using that rule for multiplication and division, not for parentheses and exponents. You must go through the PEMDAS cycle. Alright, let's go through addition and subtraction. And actually, addition and subtraction follow the same rule as multiplication and division, meaning that you can do both of them at either time, whichever one you want. So let me quickly addition and subtraction. Alright, let's move this over here. Oops, typo. Subtraction. Okay, so for this one, this is the last part of the PEMDAS cycle. And for this one, it follows the same rule as multiplication and division, like I said earlier. So you can do either one like first. Like, for example, let's make another equation. 6 minus 3 plus 9. Oops, did not type. Let's try it again. 6 minus 3 plus 9. So 6, oops, let's delete this. 6 minus 3 plus 9, right? And then let's do times, I don't know, let's say 4. Okay, so for this equation, we're going to have to start with, well, which one do we actually start with? Let me move this. This is kind of annoying. Okay, so we see this equation, 6 minus 3 plus 9 times 4. So let's go through PEMDAS. There's no parentheses, there are no exponents, well, there is a multiplication. So let's solve the multiplication first. So let's isolate this 9 times 4. So that equals 9 times 4, which is the same thing as 36. So now let's make our new and improved solution, well, expression. 6 minus 3 plus 36. Now we have subtraction and addition. But like I said before, it doesn't matter which one you pick. Like, I can do addition right now if I wanted to, and then go to subtraction. So the bottom line is that you can go with either one, subtraction or addition, whichever one you like. But only for subtraction and addition, and multiplication and division. Meaning that you have to start with the multiplication and division part before you come to the addition and subtraction. That's why it's PEMDAS. Alright, so let's complete this question. So, for my preference, I'm just going to go left to right, and I see a subtraction first. So 6 minus 3 is equal to 9, and so your equation 9 plus 36, which is equal to 45. And so that completes the PEMDAS instruction. So let's summarize real quick. So for PEMDAS is parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication plus division, and then addition plus subtraction. So you must start with the parentheses, whatever is inside the parentheses, then you must go to the exponents after you solve for parentheses. After you complete the exponent part and you don't see any more exponents, then you go to the multiplication plus division and see if there's anything there that you must check. And you can do either like multiplication or division first, whichever one you prefer, and same for addition plus subtraction. But you must complete the parentheses and exponents and multiplication plus division before you come to the addition and subtraction. Alright, so real quickly, let's do a problem. Let's see. Let's check this off. Okay. So let's do where we incorporate everything. So 3 times 7 plus parentheses 6 plus 1 minus 3 to the power of 2. So let's see if that covered everything. And let's give it a division sign. So we know we covered every single aspect. Let's move this here so you can actually see it. 2 divided by 7. Alright, so let's see what we do first. Let's go through PEMDAS for the final time. P. Let's see. Parentheses. We do see a parentheses. So let's solve that first. Equals 3 times 7 plus 6 plus 1. Well, 6 plus 1 is the same thing as 7. So 7 minus 3 squared divided by 7. So now that we've completely finished the parentheses, let's go to exponents, the E of PEMDAS. So next we have 3 times 7 plus 7 minus, and then we have 3 squared. Well, what is 3 squared? And notice how we have a negative sign as well. It's not 3 squared. People, they've tried to trick you as well. Make sure you add whatever sign is in front of it. So you see a negative 3, right? So it'd be negative 3 squared. But we know from exponents that it's basically negative 3 times negative 3. And what is negative 3 times negative 3? Well, so let's write this whole thing. Negative 3 squared is the same thing as negative 3 times negative 3, and that's the same thing as 9. So basically, it doesn't matter if there's a sign in front, because 3 squared, which is 9, it's the same thing as negative 3 squared. So, yeah, let's just quickly add on to this equation. Let me just put this out. So we have our final part, which is 3 times 7 plus 7 plus 9 divided by 7. A lot of 7s. So now next part is the multiplication and division, because we completed the parentheses and we completed the exponents. So let's go through left to right like how I like to do it. You can do it however you want, but let's see the multiplication first, because that comes first. So what is 3 times 7? Well, 3 times 7 is 21, alright? So 21 plus 7 plus 9 divided by 7. And then we have completely finished multiplication, so now let's go through division. And for simplicity, since it's 9 divided by 7, it's not the best answer it leads to, so let's make 7 3. I know I shouldn't be doing that, but just for simplicity. 21 plus 7 plus, and then we have 9 divided by 3, which is 3. Now notice, we have all addition, so where do we start? There are 2 addition symbols. Well, again, it doesn't matter, right? Because they're both addition. So let's do 21 plus 7 is equal to, oops, you can't see this. Here. Let's make another box. So we have 21, oops. Let's move it over here, okay? So this is 21, like, let me make an arrow so you guys see what I'm talking about. So we're going from here, oops, here all the way to here, okay? Oops, oh my god. Alright, let's go back to text so it'll be easier for you to understand. Alright, so we have 21 plus, why does it keep showing here? Okay. 21 plus the 7, the 7, sorry about this, plus the 3. So what is 27 plus 7 plus 3? Well, 21 plus 7 is 28. So this is the same thing as 28 plus 3. And 28 plus 3 is the same thing as 31. And so that is our final answer. Okay guys, so hopefully you understood order of operations PEMDAS well. And so this is lesson 1, this is all of it. So I'll be giving you a few practice questions, and hopefully you'll enjoy lesson 2 as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you later.